Bro, how you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm good, bro.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming. Big fan of you.
Thank you.
Is your hair real?
No, it's not. Nah, it's real. Yes, it is. It's very real. It's the realest.
What do you call people that have this dreadlocks in Africa? Yeah, from Africa?
I don't know, man. I actually don't know. I don't think there's a specific name for
They call them Dada, yeah.
Yeah, but like Dada is like a national term for it.
Yeah. So do you call you Dada? You guys?
I would call awesome. Do you know what? Do you know the funny thing? When I first came, when I first came down when I had dreads, people used to call me Malian. I was like, I would answer now, but like, yes, no, go bless, you know what I mean? Well, but I love the thing is, what I took from that is the impact that culture has had on Nigeria. That if anybody with dreads instantly called them Malian, do you know what I mean? That's just a strong tell of like how influential Naira Marley is over there. It's like kind of like a cult leader in a sense.
Yeah.
Like even if you just anybody sporting like dreads is a Malian, you feel me?
Yeah.
I'm a Malian, I guess.
Can you guess it?
I'm a question anyhow.
Let's go. Let's talk about you. You were born here, and then you moved out. When you were 7.
When I was 17.
Yeah.
17 when I left to London. Yeah.
What took you out of school?
No, so the thing is, my mother, when I was 4 years old, had to leave the country just because she was in an abusive situation, just in terms of like family stuff. So she was in a position where she was pregnant with my sister. She had 2 kids, me and my younger brother, and things were just kind of upside down, and felt like things were just going south. And she had to make the decision of protecting her kids. And in her head, she was like, the best option for me is to leave this situation and start fresh. This woman who graduated university, had her own business that, kind of got ruined by, the situation that she was in, and it was kind of like back to square one, do you know what I mean? So she went to the UK and started over again, went to college, went to university, went to law school from scratch, you feel me? So whenever I think of that story, it just makes me realize how brave it is to do something like that for a woman. Do you know what I mean? For anybody, not even a woman, like for anybody to be in a situation you've got 2 kids, you got 1 other kid on the way, you're uncertain of what's gonna happen when you do go to London, because not like we had lots of family over there, or like we weren't rich, you know what I mean? So it wasn't the situation where she was gonna go and have a soft landing. This was a situation where she was completely unaware of what she was going to meet on the other side. So she had to make that decision, and then, and here we are.
That's crazy, though.
Yeah, it's really crazy.
So when you were 4, so you didn't see your mom till when?
I didn't see my mom till I was 14. So that's when she finally
found her feet,
had a job, was able to, kind of support herself and my sister, and she felt like she had my younger sister, the last born. And she felt like she could actually now afford to come back. Do you know what I mean? Because tickets are expensive. Do you know what I mean? So it took all that time, but during that whole period, she would like call every day, she would send us stuff where she could. Do you know what I mean? So she was very present. My dad, on the other hand, was just nowhere to be found, very, very absent. So that's one of my biggest inspirations. My mother is my biggest inspiration. So she's just really brave.
It was pretty glasses, I can tell.
Yeah.
But how did that? Okay, so who were you growing up with?
My grandmother. So my mother's mother is the woman I grew up with.
Do you have a relationship with your dad?
Not really, no. I mean, not at all. Yeah, I've got a code and things that I believe in. Do you know what I mean? And I believe that responsibility for your family, or someone you're in a relationship with, or your children, it goes over everything. Do you know what I mean? And if you can't hold that responsibility, and you put the people that you brought into this world that you're supposed to be responsible for in in harm's way or in positions of uncertainty, it's just, I can't fuck with that. Do you know what I mean? I don't mess with that kind of thing. That's not my vibe. So that's why like I haven't really got a relationship with my dad, because I'm not trying to bring that into my space. I'm a different person. Like my family, like, you know, that's my father at the end of the day, but it's not what I'm on. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not rushing to go, you know, make amends. Do you know what I mean?
No, you don't have to.
I don't have to. No, but like the thing is, it's getting really deep now. I didn't know I was getting into this deep. But like the thing is, like there has been, you know, conversations reaching out. People like my dad's been trying to reach out, but I'm in a position in my life right now where I don't need that. You know what I mean, I don't need to get involved with that right now. I'm not ready for that right now. There's a whole bunch of other things underneath that have made me decide to act the way I'm acting in regards to that situation. So yeah, that's why we haven't really got a relationship.
What were you like as a kid? Because a lot of the things you talk about, the way you write songs, quite deep. A lot of socio-politically charged lyrics. Sometimes even when you're talking about love, it feels like there are symbolic, there are metaphors in there that are talking about something else.
Yeah.
Were you like a poet as a child?
I mean, I was really shy as a child. Really, really shy. Very, very quiet, but very self-aware. I've always been very self-aware, and I believe that I've always seen, the way I look at the world is very different. Do you know what I mean? The things I take from either books or movies or music is very different to other people. I guess everyone is kind of like that. Everyone has different ways in which they view the world and what their perspective is of the world. But I've always been very aware of what that perspective is, and I've always known myself. You get me? I've never been a follower. You know what I'm saying? So why my music sounds the way it does is because I've tapped into what that perspective is. And obviously being influenced by the stuff that I read, the people I listen to, the movies that I watch, I've picked up different skill sets, how to structure a song, how to write. Do you know what I mean? My writing style was born from the people I've read. Do you know what I mean? And that's why music sounds the way it does in this deep, quote unquote deep. It's just the way I see the world, but I'm doing my best to sort of like translate my vision of the world where everyone else can understand it.
What's your vision? What's that vision of the world? What's the grand idea?
It's a whole bunch of things, man.
Let's talk about like Nigeria, for example.
So I strongly believe, and this is because from my experience, that a lot of things, the reason things are going on the way they're going on in Nigeria is because the majority, which are the people who are disenfranchised, the people who don't have. The reason that is because they haven't had exposure. They haven't seen outside of what their situation is. Like growing up, NEPA that's normal. Having no water in the house is normal. Do you know what I mean? So, because you're born into that, you can't see beyond that. Do you know what I mean? But once you're outside and you recognize that it's not okay. The educational system is not okay. The way your presidents and your government treats you is not okay. These things that we see as its life, it's not okay. Do you know what I mean? But if you don't know that and all you've ever known is what's going on around you, you can't see further than that. You have an idea because you're watching movies and you're aware of everything else that's going on in the world, but your life, what you're going through on the ground,
the normalized circumstances,
it's not. Do you know what I mean? But it's not okay. So that's why, that's why I'm so adamant on pressing that knowledge into my music, because I've seen it. Do you know what I mean? I've seen it. Like we're in school studying fucking like foreign history, bro. So if you finish school now and you're working in Nigeria, you graduated university and you want to work in Nigeria, you don't even know what Nigeria is because you haven't been taught about where you're from, really, and you have no pride of where you're from because all you know is England, America, boom, boom, boom. You don't know what it is that you don't know your worth. Do you know what I mean? Your identity. Yeah. So my belief is like, for starters, the most important thing is educating people on who they are and making them have a sense of pride in who they are. So whenever if someone comes and says, "Oh, do this," you be like, "No, I'm not going to do that because that's not who I am. That's not what I'm about. I believe that I can change this situation for myself and my people." This is a different geographical setting. The climate's different. Everything's different, but we're constantly like looking out to make ourselves feel comfortable here. It's a different thing. The educational system should reflect where we are. Do you know what I mean? But once it does that, I believe, and I could be wrong, right? But this is my core belief, is that once the educational system reflects the setting that we're in, right? The kids coming through that educational system. I'm not talking about private schools or people who get money. Like,
the educational system
in general, for people who don't have. If it's on the level of like, you know, they're teaching people about themselves and like making them believe in themselves. When they get older, they want to do the best that they can to make this situation better. But the weird thing is that people in power are people who have come from power. Do you know what I mean? It's almost like, Papa, you know, my son, you're next.
Yeah.
So the people who are in circulation of government, it's the same people.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? The people who are on the ground bearing the brunt of everything, right? Then they have no opportunity to get into those spaces. Because if they do, they'll realize that, yo, I know what's going on. I've been through that. Do you know what I mean? So my job is now to make sure that someone else doesn't go through the same stuff that I went through. But when you're born in this bubble, when you come from,
you can't even see the people that are down.
You can't see the people that are down, man. Do you know what I mean? So that's what I believe. Where I believe the change can come from, and I'm starting off with music and trying to get that message across. But eventually, as time goes on, and when I'm able to, is to get into education.
What are you listening to, fella?
Bro, no. The funny thing, I listen to fella now.
Yeah.
So the funny thing is that I moved. So the first time I listened to fella was when I was like still here, right? And fella, it was a fella CD that I bought. The first things that I paid money, first music CDs I paid money for was a Pirate fella CD and an original Asha album. This is what I spent my money on. And how I got that money, I used to wash car for my uncle. And he paid me like nothing. Like, to get a grand, 1,000 naira, then took me like 4 months, bro. I saved that money, and that's what the first thing where I spent that money on was, I remember, bread. I went to Africanism and I bought this bread. It's like that they used to sell, I forget what it's called. There's like it's a bakery on Marian. I completely forgot what it's called. I bought bread and I went round the corner and I got, there's this music shop that's round the corner from where I live, and I bought a Fela Kuti CD first of all. And then I came back home and I listened to it because I was hearing about, everybody knows about Fela, but the idea of Fela then, now Fela is very cool, like it's such a cool thing to like Fela.
It's commonplace.
Then, bro, people, like Fela was the Igbo smoker. Like nobody like knew. Our parents would tell us, guy, Fela, do you know what I mean? Fela was the kind of guy people would warn you about. So I was like, let me just see what this guy is about. So I got the CD and I listened to it. And I thought it was cool, but it didn't really connect with me like that. You know what I mean? So that was that, and then that was the end of that. And then I think when we went to Abuja, me and my brother went to Abuja for the first time we went for a visa application and got turned down. Wow. I bought an Asha CD. I got my auntie to buy me an original Asha CD. I gave her some money. She added that one and bought the Asha CD. I remember I listened to that record so much because in my head I was like, this woman is Nigerian.
Yeah.
And she's doing this. This is
the first album?
This is the first album, Asha album. This woman is doing like incredible things. The lyrics are great, the music is great. Arrangement is incredible, right? The subject matter. Fire on the mountain, fire on the mountain, no one is around. Crazy. Do you know what I mean? Like that was, because it aligned with the things that perspective that I felt that I had. And someone having that perspective is like metaphorically saying, yo, it's fucked up. Why are we still here? Like, what's going on? We're still
political chatter.
Literally, but brilliantly done. Like, for me, there's like a difference in like how you communicate an idea So with stuff like that, it's like how you words. That's what poetry is. It's like saying something that we all know, but in a different way, bringing it to life again in a new way where people haven't heard it before, right? And I felt like she did that, and she was like a whole embodiment of that. So I probably listened to that record over 1 million times, over and over and over and over again. Do you know what I mean?
So Asha changed it for you?
Completely.
Did Asha make you start making music?
No. She didn't make me start making music, but she
What
gave me hope.
Sorry, what year did you apply for the visa in Abuja?
Boy, I don't know. This is like, I'm talking early 2000s maybe.
Okay.
The first time, we applied for visa 3 or 4 times before we got it.
So you left 2007?
2010.
That's when you
That's
left.
when we left.
That's crazy.
But yeah, it was Asha gave me hope for Nigerian music. Because at that point, I think everybody was just trying to sound American. Everybody's rapping in some American accent, like, and I was just like, okay, this is cool. But the thing was, the majority of that stuff was not good. Do you know what I mean? The beats weren't good. And then on top of that, you're rapping in an American accent that I can tell is not like,
Yours.
come on, bro. So I was not happy with the state of music. I was just listening to American stuff, Lil Wayne, 50 Cent, all that kind of stuff. Because the stuff we're getting here was trying to emulate that stuff. So why would I listen to this when I'm actually, there's the real thing over there, you feel me? So when it started to change was when, you know, like people like Asha, Wizkid, so them guys were like straight in to the beats were, even if you go early Wiz as well, you can hear some like American kind of trying to, and that's fine, because I was doing that as well, like I did that. Do you know what I mean? When I started making music, when I did my first song here, when I used to rap, I was rapping in American accent. When I went to the UK for the first time, when I was dropping stuff on SoundCloud, I was rapping like an American, bro. And my friends would be like, okay, bro, I know you're in England. You've never been to America before in your life, bro. And you come from Nigeria, so how? And I'll be like, it's because you feel me? It's like, the culture is the Nigerians that we're listening to. So you're trying to explain yourself, and like you're saying, the culture in Nigeria is that we just listen to American stuff, so it just comes naturally to us. But I knew, when I was saying that stuff, I knew I was Jonesy, man. I was like, right, take rubbish. I'm trying to make excuses for myself because it doesn't make sense. So that's when I came to the conclusion. One day I sat with myself and I was like, yo, what's my goal here? Like, what am I trying to do with this music thing, right? Because at some point, this facade that I'm creating isn't me. I mean, that's not who I am. That's not the voice I'm thinking. It's a front to try and get somewhere, but that can only take you so far. Do you get what I'm saying? It doesn't make any sense. So in that point, I made a decision. I was like, you know what? No more of that. I'm gonna sing in the voice that is in my head, which is the voice I read. You know when you read now, and you're reading and you're reading in your head. That voice that you're reading in your head, that's the voice I'm gonna sing with. And that's where my music changed.
First EP, Bassi, 2017.
Yeah. First EP is Home.
Sorry, Home.
Bassi was 2017.
Bassi was 2017.
Home was
2015.
Yeah.
What was the idea of Home now? Because I'm going to get to Bassi, we just like an identity thing, right? What's Home about?
This is when I went to university. So when I left London, left my mum's house and went to University of Norwich.
How did you study?
Graphic design. That was a nice story. I went to university because I wanted to make music.
Okay.
I didn't go to university for university. That was never I just went. The reason I went to Norwich, I could have gone to university in London. I had options, but the reason I went to Norwich was to get away from home, right? Because there's always been this thing about school, music. What is music? What are you doing? Guy, focus on this. So if I was home, I'm going to university, I'm coming back to the house, my mom's there. It's like, okay, school. But if I knew that if I went somewhere else, I could do freedom, whatever I wanted. And no one's pulling up on me on a random Tuesday, you get me? You have to let me know that you're coming before any of that. So the idea was to go to art school and find because it's art school. There'll be artists, there'll be people who think like me, and people I can potentially work with. So in my head, I was like, obviously it's art school, there's gonna be someone who's making music, so I'm gonna link up with someone there and like, start this journey, right? That wasn't necessarily the case. It ended up being that I found people outside of my uni who I really connected with. So the people I worked with, and friends that I made outside university, people like DJs and stuff, and the stuff that they were playing, the stuff that I was playing in the shop that I was working at was alien to me. It's like a kid in a candy shop. There's so many new things. That's when I fell in love with Fela and funk and James Brown, all that stuff, and like electronic music. So I was like, yo, there's a world outside of
London.
Not outside of London, outside of this hip hop thing or this pop thing, or it doesn't. There's lots of different pockets you can be in and exist and make good music. Do you know what I mean? So I started digging into all of this stuff, and I listened to a whole bunch of new. I was even listening to techno, bro. Like it opened my mind because I was hanging around DJs and people who did that for a living, and people I worked with were DJs and like had their own nights, and they were introducing to the music they played on the shop floor, neo soul. Do you know what I mean? Like R&B stuff that I hadn't heard. Pop porridge. It completely opened my mind to so much new stuff, and this is what I'm saying about exposure. This is nothing about exposure, like in a completely different setting, but it's the same thing. If you don't know, there's no way that you can, it doesn't happen like that. You need to be like, that completely blew my mind, and I was like, yo, okay, cool. So I don't have to try and copy XYZ to go here or A to B or whatever it is. Like I can do my own thing and like use my influences and things that I enjoy to mesh up and create this new thing. And I'll die on that sword, bro. You get me? Because that's me. It's nothing else. I'm not trying to follow I'm not trying to be like, there's no what's the word? There's no reference point. So I'm not like, if I was making hip hop, I'd be like, okay, cool, we're making hip hop. There's a structure because you know exactly what you're doing, right? I'm not doing that because there's nothing wrong with that, but that's not what I can't, that's not how I think and that's not how I move. So I make music the way that I think. And that's why my music sounds the way it does. Obviously sounds like there's a whole bunch of like influences and lots of things. Like it's a melting pot of a whole bunch of stuff.
You know what I described the first one I said it's
which one is No Way?
I mean, turn to your example, sorry.
Which way is forward?
Which way is forward? Which way is forward?
This guy said no way.
Which way is forward? Very good. And the first time I listened to it, I'm like, this sounds like spirit of Fela with instrumentation and the zen of like Orlando.
Because that's what my influences. And what made me make them start making the music that I made was Fela. Fela made me start to be like, okay, do you know what? Fela did it and was around the world successful. And do you know what I mean? He took the sound, he created that sound.
Yeah, he did.
Do you know what I mean? Me and Fela, I read his book. Me and Fela, we've got there's so many similarities between me and Fela. Where it's like, he started off making jazz. Because that's what he wanted to do. He came to Nigeria and was doing jazz. Everybody was like, what's he doing? Well, he probably didn't do that because he was playing shows and doing stuff. But then he was like, what am I even doing? I'm in Nigeria. I'm from here and I'm playing American music. Okay, so how can I make music that is obviously what I studied and what I like, but for this setting? And then he created Afrobeat. That's how Afrobeat came along. So I was like, light bulb moment. How can I create music that is me with all the things that I like as well, but not necessarily copying what it is that I like? And that's why my music sounds good.
So were you producing by yourself at the time?
I've always been really not bad at producing. I'm not good with computers and all that kind of stuff. I'm not really good at, I can play stuff. I can put any instrument in front of me, I'll figure it out and I'll make a sound. I mean, I can add to stuff. And I'm very good at directing because I hear it all in my head. It's all in my head. You feel me? But like just the whole process. Producing is a very different thing. It's a different thing. And I'm dyslexic. All that stuff just makes my head hurt. Do you know what I mean? So I'd rather someone in the room who understands my language and can help with the realization of the idea to be in the room with me. But I'm very good at, okay, I'll come into the studio, I know what the song's about. I've written the first verse, I've written the hook. I know what the melody is. Let's build from there. And that's how I operate. For the most part.
Yeah, a producer, you just did it like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes can you produce it like that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then that's it.
Yeah. And then Bassi, sorry, that was like an identity thing.
I was trying to find, that was me making a point.
Yeah.
So after Creeping, so Creeping the song, so just when Creeping, I was still kind of dabbling in this sort of like rap, you know, being lo-fi, hip-hop kind of thing. And then Bassi was when I was like, I need to do this, to make this left turn really quickly, because if I don't do this now, I'm going to be stuck in a...
Are you scared though?
No. Of what?
Of making that move, because...
No, what are you going to do? No, nobody knew who I was. That was I always say to people, the perfect time, the best time as an artist is when nobody cares. Because you can do whatever you can sing opera even. Yeah. Like nobody would care. Yeah. Because they don't know so you're trying to find your feet. So do what you can do the most to find your feet. Because at this point, you might have like 200 people who listen to your thing or whatever. But it's not like, it hasn't gone anywhere yet. Do you know what I mean? So like, figure out what it is that you are in that time. And that's when I was figuring out stuff. And I wasn't afraid to do that because I knew, I told you, I'm very aware. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And I knew that, man, like my listenership isn't crazy. So I can literally make a left turn. If they go, they go. There'll be more people that'll come. Do you get me? I'll listen to what I'm doing rather than like hanker onto this little thing that I've got. Because I don't make music. I'm not making music for anybody or anything. I'm making music for me. Do you know what I mean?
You can enjoy it.
Not necessarily that me. Obviously, you're making music people to enjoy it, but at the same time, I'm like I said, I'm relaying. Say for instance, if a painter, for instance, right? When you go to a painter's show, right? What they paint has nothing to do with the audience. They paint what they want to paint, right? You come and see the show. How the art makes you feel, it's not up to the artist. Do you know what I mean? They're not there to make you entertain you. It's not entertainment. It's like, this is how I felt, this is why I painted. You come and see. That's how I operate. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not an entertainer. I'm a musician.
The sound didn't change, the sweetness.
Yes. But it didn't, but not really.
It was still very... It sounds like something that you would do, but it sounded different from what...
Because I'm working with Sars.
Yeah.
So it's me and... It's not my project. Yeah. It's me and Sars' project. So we're working together. It's a collaboration. Yeah. And when you have a collaboration, it's not about you. Yeah. You're picking someone's brain, they're picking your brain, and it's a back and forth. Yeah. And sweetness is born out of that. So we're not trying to replicate my sound. I don't have a sound. My sound is universal. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's how sweetness came about. And I, like I said to you, I'm not afraid, bro. I don't care what it is, if it sounds like the last thing, if it doesn't sound like the last thing, if it doesn't matter to me.
What matters?
What matters is that I'm doing what I feel like I need to be doing. I'm on the path that I need to be going on. It's spiritual. If it comes, you let it out. Don't question it. Just let the spirits move through you. Like speaking in tongues. You get me? If the spirits enter you, you're not going to be like, oh no, I don't know. You just do it. Whether it's true, that's what the pastors do is true or not. In metaphorically, that's what I do. It comes to me and it comes out. If I'm feeling it, something will come of it, and I would like it. And I feel like I've got good taste, so I know what's good and what's not good. You get me? Like, so if it's good, then we roll with it rather than like be like, oh no, it's not like the other. Who cares? Who cares, bro? Nobody cares. Just be yourself and do your thing. Because if you don't do that, you're trying to please A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Like, who cares? And those people that you're trying to please, at some point, people live their lives, Like, not every people don't just be like, oh, I'm just waiting for this thing to drop. It doesn't work like that. No, but like when you drop music or anything, people still have their lives to live, and they will still listen to whatever other thing that they want to listen to. You get me? So it's not like you don't hold the whole world in your. It's not like you hold the whole world in your hand. Do you know what I mean? So just do what you want to do. You feel me?
New music.
Yes, sir.
What was going through? What inspired this one?
I watched this documentary called Hoop Dreams. For the first time like 5-6 years ago, and then And then after I watched it, the name Some Nights I Dream of Others came to me. I don't know if you've seen Who Dreams or know what it's about.
No, what's it?
So it follows these
Who Dreams?
Hoop Dreams, sorry, Jesus Christ, Who Dreams? Hoop Dreams. And it's a basketball documentary about these two kids who are like they're really good at playing basketball in their separate high schools, and they're NBA prospects. Everyone's like, oh my, these guys, you're gonna make it to the NBA. You're gonna make it to the NBA. So they're very young. At this point, they're like, really, really young, like, preteen to the teenage years, whatever. And the documentary follows them up until they get to the point where they would be drafted to the NBA, right? So it goes to that story of the idea of aspiration and what happens between aspiration and end result, right? And unfortunately, these kids didn't make it to the NBA. But it's that thing of like, what you want, what you have an idea of what it is that you want to achieve, right? The dream begins, and you're really good at it. You're balling, do you know what I mean? But then what happens between the time that you start and the time you get in there, do you know what I mean? And how willing are you, and what are you willing to do? What are you willing to sacrifice to get what it is that you want? Do you know what I mean? And sometimes you might do everything you can possibly try to do, and it just might not work out. Do you know what I mean? And that was the case. And it's a kind of a sad story, but life continues after that. So it doesn't stop. You know what I'm saying? So that's where the name came from, Some Nights I Dream of Doors. Because at the end of the day, if you want to...
Some Nights I Dream of
Doors. At the end of the day, if you want to be like... I want to be a musician. Okay, you start with a dream, you make a few songs, or you're a musician now. First door open, you're in the first door, right? That's the thing that you want to do. Okay, now I'm a musician, what's next? There's always these doors, right? And also to aspire for something, there has to be a reason, and that reason is in the past. So you have to kind of, it's like going in circles, right? Because you're always picking up from memories or past experiences. You're going into these rooms and you're picking up things that you need, have an understanding of where you've been and where you are in order to move forward. And that is what that's what advises what you become. Do you know what I mean? Because if you're lost, if you're living every day, anywhere but left is, guy, you end up wherever. You feel me? Like, and that's what the album is about. And I'm talking to myself. It's basically about my journey, and also telling people that, if you want something, that's good, and you can do all you can do is try your hardest, do everything that you have within your control to get that thing. But if you don't get it, it's fine. It's fine, because life goes on, man, and just keep going. Because the world is not going to stop because, you didn't make it to the Olympics. You've been training your whole life, but you didn't make it to the Olympics. You didn't make it to the NBA. You didn't become this. It's fine. It hurts, but it's fine. You get me? And that's what the premise of the album is about.
What's your big dream?
To be able to continue making music for as long as I exist, and to be comfortable doing so.
How many tracks are there?
There's 12 songs in the album.
Who produced?
It's myself, Barney Lister, who's the main producer, and there's one song produced by J-Rick.
What's that song that was playing outside? And then
Sugar.
Yeah. That's an incredible.
Thank you.
That's an incredible. Looking forward to it. When does it drop?
It drops on the 13th of May, so 23 days from now. Well, actually, let's not say 23 days because I don't know when it's going to come out. So whenever this comes out, then from then.
You've never had problems. Media has covered you. I don't know. It's crazy.
I'm grateful. I'm grateful for that. I'm really, really grateful for that. But I'm grateful for that. And I really appreciate all the love that I get, for my music. It's a dream. Like, some people can do whatever and just go and no one cares. Nobody even bats an eyelid. They might be doing incredible stuff, but it doesn't fall through. But I'm just grateful to be one of the people that, get some kind of coverage. It means the world.
Social media handles, bro.
Me?
Social media handles.
Obongjayar everywhere.
Spell.
None of you spell.
Bro.
I'm joking. Obongjayar.
Yeah. And what's the origin of the name?
So Obong in Efik means king, and I'm Stephen Jr.
Okay.
right? And my mom called me Junior. So Obongjayar. I just thought it was such a nice, not contradicting. I thought it was a nice juxtaposition of two things, right? So Obong on one hand is king, and then Junior.
Yeah, Junior.
But a king is a servant.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? To be a good king, you have to be a servant because you're serving. That's what you do. You're not there to lord over people. You're there to serve. Do you get me? So I just thought it was perfect. It was just a match made in heaven, and then that just carried on.
So how do you read when you have this letter?
Try. See what I'm saying? Oh, we do it. You know me. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me, man.